Wormhole's going live. 3, 2.
This is The Wormhole, presented by Team FearWorm. Interviews, education, anything and everything to do with Halloween and haunted houses. And of course, marketing.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to, I believe, episode 3 of the FearWorm Wormhole, and we have a very special episode today. But before I get into all that, I need to bring in some FearWormers you may know. So first, I want to bring in Patrick Stanger. He is the FearWorm creative director and co-founder. And Patrick, how are you doing today on this Friday?
Not too bad today. Not too bad. How are you doing, Tyler?
Doing good. I am glad it's Friday. So we have some friends coming into town that we're going to hang out with this weekend, and it's going to be good. And then, yeah, so that's what we've got going on.
Well, anything special? Like what are y'all doing?
Oh, I think we're seeing a movie on Sunday. I have to put together a charcuterie board. So I have to do that sometime this weekend.
I can't even say that, so good luck putting that together.
Charcuterie.
Yeah.
And that wasn't my idea, but I got suckered into it because I love to cook and do all the fun things. But the mastermind behind that and our other FearWormer I want to bring in is FearWormer Laura.
Hey, everyone. I love that I get to be the master behind the charcuterie board.
But Laura, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited it's Friday as well. It's been a great week. Looking forward to talking to Vic today. This is going to be a great episode.
Wait,
Yes,
who's
it
Vic?
is.
Wait, who's
And
Vic?
That's the thing. You just said the magic word. And so our special guest today is Vic Amesquita. He is the operator and I guess showrunner behind Blood Prison in Mansfield, Ohio. So I'm going to bring in Vic right now. Vic, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
All right. Hopefully I did not butcher your last name. Amesquita.
Close enough.
Perfect. So Vic, welcome to the FearWorm Wormhole. Welcome. This is usually just our kind of laid back kind of video podcast that we do. It's okay if it goes off the rails, as you said you might do.
Oh, it's fine. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, welcome. So first things first, Vic, if our viewers haven't met you before or have never heard of Blood Prison, tell us a little bit about yourself and the haunt that is at the Ohio State Reformatory.
Well, yeah, you said it right there, Blood Prison. I like to say I've got one of the greatest facades in the haunt industry. I'm very lucky. I feel very fortunate to be to do a haunt here. It's the Ohio State Reformatory. It's the prison that they shot the movie The Shawshank Redemption in.
Awesome.
So it looks like a Gothic, castle, Dracula's castle. It's amazing. It's an amazing building. Even when we're not doing Halloween, it's just fun to be here. So I feel very lucky, that I got to do this and that it's just such a great atmosphere. People are freaked out as soon as they get here. They see it. We do stuff on the outside too. But it's great. The people at OSR are great. Working with them is easy cake because they're just so, we get along very well. I started doing haunts back. I've been going to them since I was a kid.
Right.
But I didn't really start working at one until 2013. I worked with Robert Kurtzman at Robert Kurtzman's Creature Corps. It was Precinct 13 Entertainment before that, and we opened a haunt. And I just, we started doing. I mean, we always did like creature core at Transworld and stuff like that, but we didn't have a haunt ourselves, so we opened like just a small one in the back, in the woods, and we had this building. It was really cool, and fell in love with it, man. We had so much fun. I mean, I loved that time of year because more than just going, it was like, this is just fun to do, dealing with the actors for ticketing, dealing with the customer. It was just fun, man. It was just, I was hooked instantly.
I bet it was a blast when you have a team like Creature Chorus kind of behind the haunt.
Yeah.
Like, it was awesome. I bet it was awesome.
It was a good time. Those were very fond memories.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about Blood Prison, and just kind of give us an idea, like what's that experience like? What is Blood Prison to the customer?
Well, we try to, I mean, we're in a prison, so we try to keep that theme, like everything is an inmate. Now we do kind of stray from that here and there because, just to keep it fantastic, you know what I mean? Keep it, more than just people in inmate outfits, you know what I mean? So for a customer coming in, they're going to see everything. Of course, we got the TikTok famous Warden's Widow as, one of our main characters here. And we kind of, theme a lot off of her. So like the first area you go in is like, we built a giant house. We call it the, Warden's Widow's quarters, where she lives all year round. So you go through her house, her living area. And then from there, you go down into the prison, which is solitary confinement. And then from there, you go into the big cell blocks and then into the basement. So it's a prison experience, but you're also going to get a lot of traditional and non-traditional things that you wouldn't see at a normal prison, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Warden's Widow, I have to say, her scream is just, it's almost iconic. And I do feel like you get a lot of people that just really come to see her, to come see her.
She's like 7 feet tall, isn't she? Or something like
6'7".
Is that the one that's in the dress? The woman, right? The nun looking.
Yeah.
So that trailer in the comments. I think.
I'm gonna play it right now, if you don't mind, Vic.
Okay, I didn't know you had it loaded. Perfect.
Yeah, let's take a look at this.
Break from this, everybody, and we're gonna play a video from Blood Prison, and so you all can have an idea of what Blood Prison is. So I'm gonna go and start this. Let's see.
This will be good.
I'm gonna have to, how this goes. We can only.
I know it's good because it's line 7.
I know.
I love
this second.
So good, so good.
Yeah, courtesy of Abe from Blind 7. So, here we go. That was awesome. And if you, the keen eye will have seen the Warden's Widow in that video, and she's such an icon. She's so cool looking.
Great. Her character, she kind of, derived her character from some stuff she looked up here at the prison, when it was a prison. So she really went authentic with it in the sense of where it came from. And, she, of course, worked with our makeup artist, Matt Seal. He's like my head makeup artist like the makeup on her, that's all done by him. It's all airbrushed on, and it looks amazing. And then, the costume itself has evolved over since, like, I think she started in 2018. So it's evolved and changed. She had Sven Puss make her the sleeves and redo the dress and everything. And they're amazing too. And she's evolved it, and she's making it, and she's got more. there's more evolution this year that we're doing that's really gonna, make it even creepier. And I'm really excited.
There you go. There's an awesome tease for any local Mansfield, Ohio, Central Ohio haunt fans out there for Blood Prison this year. The Warden's Widow is going to get an upgrade.
Well, they come from all over to, not just for the haunt, to see her. This year more than any year, I had to, I'm like, because we get thousands of people a night that come through the haunt. So it's like when I get someone's like, when is the Warden's Widow coming out? And I'm like, she's coming out when she comes out. It's just, I don't have her on a schedule or anything.
We don't run her. She runs this place. So.
She's the warden. So it's like she does what she wants. And she was actually in the house a lot this year, like inside, because she was like, I really want to act again, more than just taking pictures. She understands she's got to go out and do that. But she's been, getting more into the traditional stuff with acting, and that's what she fell in love with. She loves it. So she's got to do it more.
Awesome.
So this year people got to see her in the house more in the scenes, which people were digging.
That's so cool. Now you hinted to something you mentioned that I want to talk about with you, and that's your lines. And we know the Warden's Widow, very popular with people. I'm sure she goes out to your cue line and works the crowd. But last year, 2021 haunt season, Blood Prison was hit with a swarm of feverish haunt lovers. And I wanted to talk about those 4, sometimes 5-hour wait lines that you had at Blood Prison. What was that like, and how did you manage that crowd?
It was horrible.
That's a loaded question.
I have strived to, get out there. The 3rd and 4th Saturdays, are not the days to come. We try to spread it out. And again, it's difficult because I've got to work within some parameters with the reformatory. So we're open on the weekends and that's it. I know some big haunts will open up throughout the week. I can't really do that. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday is your times to come. So it jams it up. So it makes it really difficult to get people in quickly. And like we were talking earlier, I'm probably the only haunt in Ohio that doesn't do time ticketing. I just feel it's kind of hard. It was very
Come on, Vic.
Yeah, I know. They're like, give it the program. But we did, 32,000 people this year. And it was like, how do I time that? I have no idea. I really haven't looked into it a lot, but it's difficult. So I try to go out into the crowd and like every once in a while, like at least once, maybe even 3 times a night, I'll go out and just grab some and be like, come on, and I'll upgrade them for free and get them in quicker. But even my our fast pass line, gets crazy, and it's
That's
tough
awesome.
to manage.
That's a high margin ticket too. Like that's good.
It is, yeah.
Extra money.
Actually, Alan Hobbs, who you guys all may know, but is the show director over at Dark Hour Haunted House. He actually brings up a really good comment here. He says, has he considered raising prices?
Yeah, we raised, our general admission price is like $25. And people keep saying that. They're like, you need to raise your prices. And I'm like, well, maybe. But we did make our VIP ticket. It was, I think we went to 60 this year just for the VIP. But even that, people didn't blink about buying it. You know what I mean? I know that's what I do. When I go to a haunt, I don't ever buy. I want to get in and see the show and go. You know what I mean? So I don't do that. So I try to look at it from the perspective of the people coming in. Now, I'm not in a major city. Mansfield, Ohio, is not Columbus, Ohio. It's not Cleveland, Ohio. We're not in a major city. Now, we still get those kind of numbers, but I'm not getting a consistent, a crowd like on the off-season stuff. I'm not going to have like the biggest numbers like you would in Columbus or Cleveland, for instance. But yeah, I have considered that. We are talking about that as far as like raising ticket prices, but we haven't made any final decisions because, as you know, when you run these things, it's everything you change there's backlash, and what sucks for me is I'm a people pleaser. So when people are not happy, it drives me crazy. and it's very stressful for me. So I try to keep everyone as happy as I can, but you're never going to please everybody, you know?
So I guess with this being said, you definitely had really long waits at Blood Prison and stuff like that this last season.
Mhm.
So what are you and your team like? What are you guys working on, or what are you thinking about doing to kind of help that for the next season?
To help the weights.
The lines, yeah.
Well, we are looking into time ticketing. I am looking into that. I was talking with a friend of mine. He runs Fear Columbus in Columbus, Ohio, Nick Francis, and he'd come up for our Christmas show, and I was, just shooting the shit with him. And I said, I was like, you guys do time ticketing? I was like, I was just kind of picking his brain a little bit. And he's like, I guarantee you can do it. And I'm like, you think so? He goes, yeah. He goes, I'm almost positive you can.
I'd agree.
I am taking the class.
Everybody can do it.
What's that?
As I agree with Nick, everybody can do it.
Yeah. And I just logistically got to figure it out. I haven't really delved into it that much. But I am taking the class. Time ticketing is here to stay at Transworld this year. I'm taking the seminar. So I'm going to get some more info on it. And then we'd have to try and figure out what we're going to do as far as how we would ticket it. Because our ticketing company, I don't know if it would work that way. So we may have to change ticketing and all that stuff. So I'm not sure. And it's, of course, it all comes down to the almighty dollar, if it makes sense for us financially.
And I know right now you guys actually don't sell out. Like Blood Prison does not sell out. You just sell ticket after ticket and, until people stop buying. So, with time ticketing, is that something that you would have to change as well? Do you have to then, have certain slots that are selling out?
I mean, I would think so. That seems to be how everybody else does it. Initially just looking into it, I'm thinking like, well, because the first day of the hunt is never, we just got to break the numbers down. So it's like, so we should sell so many tickets, on the first day, as opposed to mid-season where everybody and their brother's showing up, and that's what I'm trying to tell. Cause like we kind of, when I'm talking with the OSR staff, I was like, you got to understand that you're not going to you'll still get the people, but they're just not all going to show up at 6 o'clock. They're going to show up at 6, 8, and 10 and 11:30 or whatever it is, whatever your time is. So I get that point, and it does make sense. So I'm definitely interested. I just want to make sure it doesn't hinder anything else as far as what we're going to do on the monetary end of things, because that is important.
Sounds good.
Hey, so Vic, you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, sitting in a different spot. Tell us a little bit about your partnership with the actual prison. How does that work? Because you own the haunt, right? Or who owns the haunt? But you're in a state-owned facility.
Well, it's not a state-owned facility anymore. It hasn't been a state-owned facility in quite some time. It is it's a non-for-profit organization. The Reformatory is. I'm a contractor. I have a contract with the Reformatory that I get to do the Halloween event. So basically, I handle the Halloween event every year, and they help out too. They're like, they handle like the parking and all the food vendors and things of that nature. And then I got guidelines that I got to follow within the building because it is a historic building. So there's parameters I got to follow as far as that kind of stuff is concerned. But yeah, it's my event. The event is mine.
So like anybody can show up and tour the prison year round, right? If I wanted to.
Yeah. Like right now we're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Thursday through Sundays. And then I believe once April hits, then they're open 7 days a week up until I open. And then it goes down to we can still do tours even when Halloween's going on, just during the day.
Wow. And how did you come across, how did you get involved with them? Like, how did you do that? It's pretty cool location.
Yeah.
Like, would you just walk in and you're like, hey, I got this idea for a haunted house. Like, they're like, yeah, man. Like, really?
Well, so what happened was the haunt started back in the late 90s, and it was, I think it was JC deal. Okay. And it was a few years, and, it was just kind of, whatever. They would come into the building and there was nothing from what I understand, not a lot done. And then a company called Haunted X took it over in, I'm not exactly sure, maybe 02, 03, somewhere in there. And then they did it until 2015. So what happened was we were running our haunt over in Crestline, Ohio, which is like maybe just 10, 15 minutes down the road. And one of the guys that work here was a friend of mine, because I used to do radio. I used to work in radio. That's kind of how I got into everything. It all led to what I'm doing now. But one of the guys that was on the sales team at the radio station I worked at was somebody out here. And we used to do shows out here and stuff like that, like rock shows, just local type stuff. It was really cool. So I was just kind of, bullshitting with him one day, and he mentioned to me that the contract was coming up soon. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. So I basically, through him, set up a meeting with the higher ups, and we did a meeting. And then once the contract was up, they kind of had to, they shopped around a little bit, but they kind of said, well, you guys are local. I had Robert Kurtzman on my side as well. It was his company. The first year was 2016. So it was kind of his deal first. And that's kind of how I got in. So I just, kind of knew the right people.
That's fantastic. One more question. Okay, so you talked about your background in radio and how it opened up those doors. That's really interesting. Tell us a little bit more about your background. Like, how did you end up in the haunt industry? Like, I know you're a vendor as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we plugged your company, but yeah, man, let us know what company that is and just a little bit about your background and what else you do. I'm just really curious about the personal stuff and your favorite meal. To finish with your favorite meal. Your favorite
meal?
You got to finish with that, though.
Oh, okay. Hey, look at me. There's not a lot of meals I turned down. So, I mean, ever since I'm a music lover. I love music.
Yeah.
But I don't play music. Okay. I dicked around with guitar for a little while when I was in my teen years. But I knew that's like, yeah, I'm not going to be good at this. But I'm a music lover. I love music. And I thought, well, if I can't play it, like physically play an instrument, I'd like to play music. So I kind of, got into, because I'm an old guy, this is like back in the 80s and 90s. So radio was still kind of a thing then. There was no internet, So I was like, I'd listen to my favorite rock stations. I'll name drop WIOT in Toledo, Ohio.
WIOT.
WMMS, Cleveland, The Buzzard.
WEBN, Cincinnati.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I've heard of them. So it was like, I'll go and I want to play music. So that would be kind of fun doing the DJ thing, plus doing DJ for other things. So I thought that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So local hometown radio station brought me on to kind of get my feet wet and everything. I went to broadcasting school. Long story short, I jumped around to a few radio stations and worked. I actually got to work at WMMS in Cleveland for the summer of 1999, which was an amazing summer because Cleveland, is an awesome city that is just, there's a bar around every corner. So, and a young guy. So it's just, we're constantly just listening to music, going to concerts, drinking, and having a blast. It was amazing. Ended up in Mansfield, Ohio at a rock station called Z98.
Ooh,
and
Z98.
Z98, The Rock. It was a great time. And that's where I met the guy that ended up working here and kind of got me here. But so then the big story one year was special effects legend comes home to open a shop in his hometown, which was Robert Kurtzman, who's from Crestline, Ohio. And he went out and started K&B Effects out in Los Angeles. And you've seen them. I mean, they've been in like
big
every
time.
kind of stuff. Yeah, you know who K&B. If you're in the industry, you know who they are. Army of Darkness. They did, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. They've done a ton of stuff. Yep. Well, Bob moved back here and opened a haunted house. 1 year deal called Horror Monster Rampage. And
that sounds awesome.
It was really cool because it was all his stuff from his movies. So like every scene, I mean, it was like, you had your butcher scene and, your morgue scene and all that stuff. But there was like, Michael Myers walking around and, Jason and all that good stuff. Well, the station I worked at, technically the tower was located in Crestline, Ohio, but the studios were located in Mansfield. So he wanted to keep it as local as possible. So he did his advertising with us. So I did all of his production work for his commercials and things like that. Got to interview him on the air. Him and Gino Crognale come into the studios. Who Gino's, just like him, is effects legend. Worked the whole time on The Walking Dead under K&B. So I got to meet those guys and interview them on the radio. And of course, if you work in radio, at some point, Clear Channel is going to come and buy your station and fire everybody. That's not what happened at this station, but that's the same thing that happened. It was a different organization that came in, bought the station, and fired everybody. Yeah. Well, then Robert Kurtzman then said, well, hey, I need a production audio guy. And I was like, well, I don't do production audio. I do, production audio and radio. But he was, we interviewed and all that good stuff. And he, long story short is I got to jump into his company called Precinct 13 Entertainment. And I worked with him for years on movies and TV shows and, stuff like that in his shop, doing the effects work and everything. Not that I'm not a special effects guy at all. But I can do the grunt work, plus I did his audio. We did a movie called The Rage, and we produced a movie for Ed Douglas, a Midnight Syndicate, called The Dead Matter, stuff like that. And we did a bunch of stuff. So I got in with him, and then he opened the Haunt later on down the road, and that got me to where I'm at now, basically.
That's
What's your favorite meal? What's your favorite meal?
Wait, yes.
Favorite meal.
The last meal?
Yes. Your last meal.
Well, because of Blood Prison, right? You have, when you're on death row, I guess you have that. What's your last meal, your final meal? Yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, I couldn't say what this is it. I love this. But I mean, I'm a Midwest guy. So I mean, I love steak. I love grilling steaks. I told somebody at the bank one time, they said, how could we improve service? I said, you guys are great. The service is great. The only way you could improve is have a steak and a beer waiting on me when I got here. You know what I mean? So steak, man.
So steak and a garlic. Oh,
what cut of meat?
What cut of? I mean, I like them all. I mean, but I mean, of course, I love the strips and I love ribeyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't go on with the ribeye.
Hell no.
Tenderloin.
Right, so Vic says it: a ribeye steak, and hopefully with a twice baked garlic mashed potato.
That's the chef. Chef Tyler.
Baked potatoes, man. It's Ohio.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, what about sauce? Do you put sauce on it when you put ketchup on your steak? Don't tell me.
No, I jump off a cliff before I put ketchup on my steak. Come on. I give my wife grief when she puts A1. I'm like, this steak is amazing.
I'm gonna pull up Alan Hops again because he just gave us his favorite steak, I believe.
Yeah.
He wants a cowboy ribeye. Now that would be a cowboy ribeye should technically have a bone in it. And if the bone extends another 5 inches, that is a tomahawk. Sometimes people will call a tomahawk ribeye a cowboy ribeye, but they are not the same. But Alan, do you prefer the cowboy ribeye or the tomahawk ribeye? That's my question for Alan.
I'll take the extended bone ribeye.
The tomahawk, yeah, you can hold it like an axe.
I'm not going to comment on
that.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Cowboy.
The cowboy.
Cowboy.
It's a very Texas comment.
Yeah, they're better with the bone in, man. I agree. The bone in ribeye is way better. Like it's day and night difference, Tyler. I don't know what you think, but
I totally agree.
Yeah.
What I love if you can ever find them, they're rare. But if you can find a steakhouse that has a bone-in fillet, those are the best.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
It's Kobe steaks are real good. Kobe.
You guys gonna have to send me some of those. If you know where to get those, just let me know. I'll give you my address.
Right.
I can really tell that we're streaming during lunchtime right now.
We're all hungry.
Very evident.
Yeah, right? The FearWorm team is hungry. But Vic, you are correct. Kobe or Wagyu is also very good, but very expensive.
Yes.
So maybe your last meal should be a Wagyu ribeye.
Hey, I'll try.
It's at. Now, Patrick did mention, and I want to kind of circle this back around because I know we've talked a lot about Blood Prison. Vic, we've talked about your history with radio and how you got involved with the haunt. But I want to talk about you as a vendor. Transworld is coming up right around the corner in March.
Yeah.
And you're a vendor. You're a creature core. So what can you tell us? What are these things that the people watching today, can you maybe tease them? You have anything new that's happening, anything exciting that we could talk about as we go into Transworld?
Yeah, I mean, we got, you know, some new masks coming in. We make the foam latex masks. I mean, I've got, you know, all kind of masks here, but we make them at Creature Core. They're foam latex on the outside with a 4-way stretch spandex, and they're super comfortable. They're nowhere near as hot. They still look amazing. But we got.
I can attest to that. I think Vic, I don't mean to cut you off, but I can attest to this. So when I did the haunted house in Lexington, Kentucky, we had a mask from Creature Core. I don't remember what it was called, but it was so comfortable to wear. It was. I mean, no offense to the silicone makers, but this was way more comfortable to wear than a silicone mask. It doesn't get as hot. You know, it was awesome. So I can attest to that comment. And I've always been a fan of Creature Cores, but continue. I just wanted to provide my personal experience with your mask.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we hear, you know, a lot is that they're just more comfortable. The actors can wear them longer. And, you know, like I had an actor here, I had him in a silicone mask. And because silicone masks are beautiful. You can't go wrong with them, really. But they're just, when you're open as long as we are, it's hard for them. Now I've got warriors here that'll wear them all night long. But some people just can't hack it. And I give them one of the Creature Core masks. He's like, dude, I'll wear this for days, you know, and that's kind of the idea. But we also do props. I mean, I got a new pig prop that we're getting ready to, you know, showcase this year. New masks, a foam latex mask. I think we got 4 new masks on the line this year. We got some new specially made props that we're going to have. We always bring in like 2 or 3 racks full of specialty props because we offer like severed heads and arms and legs, all that good shit. And we have certain, like, you know, some of the people on the team will take that stuff because the parent company at Creature Core is another place called JDM Surplus, which is just right around the corner from our shop. They're in Crestline, Ohio. And they just have warehouse full of lab equipment and stuff like that. So we can go over there and get a ton of lab equipment, which, you know, a lot of times you don't even need to do anything to it. You just make it dirty and throw it in your haunt. And it's beautiful. But we'll take like our heads and stuff like that and make props out of them. And I've got also somebody vending at Transworld this year is Brian Dembski at Dembski Creations. And he's also local. He works here at Blood Prison with me. He's my acting manager and one of my set designers and set dresser. And he also has a space at the shop. So we all kind of work together, and he makes a lot of our props for us and throws his style on our props and makes these cool pieces out of the lab equipment and stuff like that. And plus we have Elizabeth Crowley, who's making some props for us this year. She's Miss Crowley Art on Instagram and Facebook. She's amazing. David Greathouse, of course, still works there. He's doing stuff. Scene Rogers. So we have a really cool team of people that make a bunch of customized things as well that we're going to bring to the show and people will see this year.
I love hearing that. I've always been a fan of the Creature Core stuff. Go ahead, Laura.
Alan had asked a question. He was asking, is Blood Prison open for any off-season shows? Which I know the answer to this, and I think it was answered in the comments, but I figured I'd let you address it.
Yeah. We Blood Prison, we're open for one off-season event that's open to the public, our Christmas incarceration that we do. And we just did that for the first time this past year because we were going to do it the COVID year, but sorry, that was one of the no talk about words.
We call it the situation.
we were not able to do it that one dreaded year, but we did it this year. It went off great. We had so much fun doing it. We had so much fun doing that, and it went really well. So we do that event in December. And then if you buy tickets, they also do an event here called Incarceration, which is a tattoo and music fest.
Yeah.
We open up for that as well. So it's like people can come in, not the whole experience, just like 2 or 3 small sections. You can come in and get tickets to Blood Prison and kind of get a preview of what's coming up for Halloween. But that's only open for people attending Incarceration, which, we have. I mean, that thing is another one that's just blown off the rails. They had Slipknot here last year.
I wanted so badly to go to that event last year, and we couldn't make it work. Like,
Tyler and I are huge Slipknot fans, so
yeah, they put on an amazing show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, they had it was awesome. I mean, I've seen Slipknot many times, but last year was really cool. This year they got Korn and Disturbed. I mean,
Nice.
So it's fun to be a part of that event. They incorporate us into the event. I'm really good. I used to run security for them, actually. Their first 2 seasons or first 2 years, I ran security for them until like there's some law now that you got to have bonded security, so it couldn't be like a independent contractor. So they kind of had to, go through a company. So I'm really in league with them pretty well, and they're like, yeah, man, you got to run your haunted attraction, and people can come in because it's in July. They get to come into the building, get out of the heat for a few minutes, and go through and get the shit scared out of them for a little while, and they love it, and they come back for October shows too. So it's great.
Patrick, make a note. We need a site visit or a market visit at Blood Prison sometime in June.
Should let me know, man. We'll pull it up.
Well, the thing is, Tyler, they don't know we just bill it to them, and we just
I'll just bill it.
Oh, hey, there's this. We forgot about that. You saw the podcast. No, we're just kidding. We're kidding.
Those are the two off-season deals. We were going to do a halfway to Halloween in May this year, but I think we're kind of focusing more on just getting more new stuff prepped for the season. So we're not doing that this year. We could do it maybe down the road. And then everybody wants me to do a Valentine's. Everybody wants me to do a prison-themed Valentine's event. And I'm like, that, I don't know. Valentine's Day in prison could get kind of weird. So
hey, if you get Laura working on that social media, it'll be killer.
Oh, I'm sure it would be, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So Alan was asking. I think it sounds like he wants to go to your Christmas event. Have you set your dates for Christmas Incarceration yet? Do you know?
Yes.
It's
usually the calendar because I don't know by heart.
I think it's usually the weekend before Christmas, if I'm not mistaken.
This year it is. Well, hold on. December 9th and 10th.
Oh, okay.
So that is the second weekend in December.
Yeah, 2 weeks before.
Which always makes sense.
Alan is free.
Because
here you go.
Being what this is, like I have like 2 areas that I can keep up all year round. The rest I have to shut down. I have to tear everything down. Thank you, Abe. I have to tear everything down. And we got to pull everything out of the cell blocks, everything out of the bullpen, solitary. It all has to come down. We load it all in semi-trailers. So then after that, we got to start prepping for Christmas on. So fall and winter, beginning winter is pretty busy.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned we've talked about Transworld. We've talked about some new things that you're bringing to the show. Oh, and also before I continue, if you're watching, you have any questions, start dropping your questions now as we start to wrap up. If you have any questions for Vic regarding Blood Prison, regarding the Ohio State Reformatory, regarding Creature Core and Transworld, start dropping those questions below. We're going to start wrapping up this episode soon. But Vic, we've talked about everything. And one of the things we try to get out of guests, I know we've talked about one of your favorite meals, but Vic, what is your favorite horror movie?
My favorite horror movie?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an old school guy, and the Halloween movies when I was a kid, they just scared they scared the living hell out of me because I was like, I think when the first one came out, I was like 4 or 5, and I saw it when I was like 7 or 8. I like the old stuff, like the Halloween and Friday the 13th movies, just because, and I know that might be a more of a traditional thing to say, but it's just when I grew up, and I didn't watch a ton of horror back then, but it's what makes me remember more than like the ET bullshit, or I don't even care about all that. You know what I mean? I remember like seeing the Michael Myers face appear in the background, and you're just like, it just kind of freaks out. But on the newer end of things, The Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. I love those two movies. Like, not because Rob Zombie directed them.
We're gonna get our first copyright strike on Facebook.
Oh, sorry. But
music.
The music. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're great. They're great. I love
that. Vic, I would agree with you.
On the rights of the music.
Yeah, Michael Myers is like one of my all-time favorite horror icons. But I'm there with you, like old school horror. I wasn't really a fan of like the Friday the 13th or the Nightmare on Elm Street. My very first horror movie was Child's Play, and I was like 5 years old. My dad watched it like with me. He's like, "Hey, you're gonna like this," and I'm traumatized ever since.
Sweet dreams.
Yeah, right.
The first Nightmare on Elm Street is actually pretty good. It's just once they get to like the third one, it just turned into,
a comedy.
Comedies, It was funny, but it was just like, I like seeing the centipedes come out of the girl's mouth and the writing on the chest. That was just awesome.
All right, Vic, what soundtrack is this from? You know that.
Isn't that the third Halloween?
Happy Halloween, 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 happy Halloween.
Shamrock.
FearWorm.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously not an H3 fan. I'm like a huge fan of the Halloween 3. And I like, it has nothing to do with the first two, so I hated it when it came out.
Yeah.
Playing that if you want, Laura, for you.
I have a hot take for you.
It's going to be stuck in my head.
I'm going to mute Patrick's mic. We're going to get taken down.
It wouldn't be the first time.
I know.
This is true.
So I got a hot take for you, though. I never liked any of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, but I love the remake in 2013. I think it's better than any of the originals.
Never even watched it.
Yeah, to me, I loved it.
Oh man!
I will say I will say the new Texas Chainsaw is pretty brutal.
Now I need to watch that.
Yeah, we haven't
watched
it yet.
Watch that.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I always tell that story about Nightmare on Elm Street, man. That's like one of my all-time favorites growing up. I'm with you. I love that movie. And
First one.
Yeah, the first one. I'd go to the Dollar Theater and watch it over and over. And it was like scary and funny at the same time. I was a teenager and, but the one part that really scared me were those little girls singing, the 1, 2, Freddie's coming for you, all that. Yeah. And that always freaked me out, which is, the whole premise for the FearWorm things that we make here, which are those little girls, those creepy little girls gave me nightmares. But what an influential movie that was, and it's like getting you where you're vulnerable. You think about like going to sleep at night and then this guy kill you with a hand of knives in your sleep, and everybody knew about the urban legend of, well, if you die in a dream, you'll die in real life, which is that true? We still don't.
I can make such a bad joke.
Right now. It's not true because
I can make such a bad joke.
So, fun fact: one of my friends was actually in one of those movies and went toe to toe with Freddie.
Okay.
My friend Leslie Dean. I used to play roller derby with her.
Did she get knifed?
I don't know. Like, I haven't seen all of them.
Yeah.
But she was in it.
Awesome. I just want to see her. Did she get knifed? I mean, everybody like loses and everybody gets killed except for one person, right?
But I think she was kind of one of the ones to defeat Freddie, if I remember correctly. But I'll have to go back and watch it.
Freddie. Anyway.
Freddie versus Jason. They did a bunch of it.
Yeah.
I just like the older stuff because it just seemed, I think a lot of the psychologically, it just seems more real, which kind of made things like more scary. You didn't have to have a jump scare every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But just that old grainy look to the movies.
Yeah.
I know. It made you almost think like everybody, that's how people just saw things back in those days, was all grainy. It's just like, that's what kept it authentic for me. So it's like, that's why I like the new Texas Chainsaw and the Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. They really went that way, that style. You know what I mean? Which was just authentic and just fun, you know.
Wait, is that on Netflix? The new one?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So
Now, I haven't seen that yet, but we have to watch it.
Yeah,
you should. It's
Now,
brutal.
we did have some questions come in. So our first one is from Matt Berg. He says, "What's the best knowledge you have?" Did have some questions come in. Blood President. So our first one is from Matt Berg.
What? I'm sorry, you kind of started repeating.
Yeah, I had to mute Patrick's microphone. 1 second. I will reread that again.
Oh, okay.
He says, so Matt Berg asks, what's the best knowledge you've gained running Blood Prison?
Well, I mean, I might not have even gained it yet. I'm still pretty new. I tell everybody I'm still in my infancy. This is my fifth season. Well, yeah, it was my fifth season running it. But I would say just dealing with people. I learned how to deal with like different kinds of people. And that was something I had to learn pretty quick because not everybody is as happy to do this as I am. So, keeping everybody like wanting to be here, whether it's a guest or a crew member, actor, security, keeping everybody in that mind frame is something that's, it's kind of hard to do. But I want people to be here because they want to be here, not just because they love to see, horrific things or be scared or scare. Just because I want everyone to have fun doing it. So I've gained like the knowledge I gained is just how to deal with different kinds of people, and on both ends of the, from guests to actors.
That's great. I love hearing that. Now, I hope I don't butcher his last name here, but we have another question in from Chris Roosh. Wants to ask, do you all welcome traveling actors or creators at Blood Prison?
Yeah, absolutely. We do. We have guest actors every year. There's an amusement park here in Ohio, up in Sandusky, called Cedar Point. They are pretty well known all over the world just for an amusement park, but they also have a Halloween event they do every year as well, Halloween weekends, and it's pretty big. And then usually they are done. I think they close early, but a lot of their actors will come and guest act with us, and other ones too. I mean, just from all over the state. But we definitely do guest actors for sure.
Awesome. And how could a guest actor get a hold of you? How could they get in touch with you to do that?
Yeah, just message us on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll get back to you and let you know, what you got to do and all that other stuff. Because there's some things you got to kind of do to work here. Guidelines I got to follow through the reformatory, like age requirements and things like that.
Mm-hmm. So to end it, we don't have any more questions, but to end it, we have a last comment from Abe. And it was back when we were talking about our movies. And I have to agree, Ernest Scared Stupid is the best, most underrated Halloween movie, I think, of all time. I love that. Now, of course, Jim Varney, fellow Kentuckian, R.I.P. But Ernest Scared Stupid is one of my all-time favorites. Patrick, it looked like you had one more thing.
Oh yeah, Vic, you do a podcast, right? You want to plug that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we do.
Everything is kind of fancy.
Well, I do a podcast. It's just, I always get a lot of people say everybody has a podcast these days, and I'm like, it's true. I have one. I started it last year. It's all about working at Blood Prison, Halloween horror, all that good stuff. I love doing it because it kind of takes me back to my radio days because I had so much fun doing that stuff. And I love just doing this. Dude, I could sit here and talk to you guys for another 2 hours, just talking about these things. And having different people come in. Had Abe come in. Abe came in and did one of my very first, he might have been like my second or third guest.
Yeah, I love that episode.
97 does amazing work. They do all my video stuff. So I had him on, and I've had Dave Greathouse, Rick Tom. I mean, a ton of people have come on, and it's just so much fun to do. I'm doing a kind of a little series right now with my in-house people. My build crew, my set designer, my zone leaders are going to do one with me, just to kind of, keep everything fresh in Halloween. I did one with Katie Lane, and it was a great podcast. We talked about a lot of stuff. She's amazing and just does some wild stuff. And when the podcast was over, we sat in there for probably another hour and a half and just talked about, Halloween, more experiences she had at, certain haunts. And I just live for that stuff, man. I could do it all night long, just, bullshit about Halloween and haunted houses, horror movies. So when I got the opportunity to do it, I had to,
Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Fun. I love doing it.
And Vic, again,
needs a podcast. Everyone needs a podcast. I think it's good for you. It helps you if you like doing it and you like talking and somebody likes listening, and like it doesn't matter. You just need one listener. I mean, really.
Blood Prison Shakedown is what mine's called.
I just sit around and talk to myself most of the time. So might as well talk to a mic, I guess.
and again, it's called Blood Prison Shakedown is the name of the podcast.
Yep.
Perfect. And Vic, again, what's your booth number at Transworld so people come see you?
Booth number is 903. Actually, you'll see me as soon as you walk in the doors. As soon as the main entrance at Transworld, straight ahead, that's Creature Core. We're right there. So it's we're the first booth you're going to see.
Perfect. So you'll see all the new cool stuff.
I was going to say,
discount.
If he's right at the beginning, shame on you if you don't stop by and say hi to Vic. You're gonna walk right by him.
It's gonna be fun, and that's the other thing that's cool about everything that we do. FearWorm, the marketing, and you guys are doing this podcast, and you're gonna be at Transworld. Same with us, I'm gonna go live from the Blood Prison Shakedown because we're on YouTube, Stitcher, and Spotify. So I'm gonna go live and hopefully do a couple live things from there, from Incarceration. It's just so much fun to do that kind of stuff, man. It really just make it less like a job,
Yeah, totally agree. We need to hide a blue pumpkin in your booth somewhere. So people walk in, they can see that blue FearWorm pumpkin.
Yeah, maybe we'll paint. We got a new pumpkin a new jack-o'-lantern that we're putting out this year. Brand new one for Creature Core. Maybe I'll send me a picture. Maybe I'll paint one like that.
Ooh. Challenge accepted. Well, Vic, thank you for being on the FearWorm Wormhole with us today. If you can, after we roll the outro, if you can just stay on so we can chat you for a little bit afterwards. But thank you again for coming on. I'm going to place you back in our holding. Everybody say hello to Vic. Go listen to his podcast. Go see him at Transworld. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me today with Vic from Blood Prison. And I know, Laura, I think you wanted to maybe tease a Transworld thing that's happening.
Oh, that's right. So we definitely have some education for you guys at Transworld. FearWorm always has classes. So our seminar this year, our free seminar this year, is on social media. So we are going to help you with your social media, your year-round social media. So a lot to learn in that. So definitely, we're
going to go through and show them how to do a whole year.
Absolutely. And we're going to have some downloads too that you can get and kind of, put your notes in those things and help you schedule it out. So we have that, but we also have another class that we're going to do. So I'm going to tease that. So be looking for that announcement, I guess, on the FearWorm Facebook page and on Instagram. Yes.
And the free seminar is Saturday at 11:30 a.m. I believe it's room 137. I could be wrong on that. Is it 127? Okay. But we have the event created on the FearWorm page. So you can just go to events and you can see everything that's happening there. We will be putting up another one now that Laura is saying we're teaching maybe another seminar at Transworld. Of course, you can catch the entire team at City Museum. Go ahead, Patrick.
Oh, yeah. No, I was going to say, don't be late for the free seminar thing because Laura likes to get drunk through these things. So halfway through, she's going to pass out, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to have to take over. Don't get there late. All the good stuff in the first 30 minutes.
Goodness.
She'll be out.
She'll be out. You're drunk. Everybody knows you're drunk the whole time.
That is super funny. And I don't know what to say. I'm like, now do I bring a flask and pretend?
It's just a Yeah, we're joking. But everybody is drunk at Transworld the whole time. That's why it's funny, right? Because
if not drunk, if hungover for sure.
Yeah. Well,
and you know what? They really shouldn't be, because let's be honest. So much
you
to
hush.
learn.
You hold that. You bite your tongue.
So much to learn, so many people to network with. And it is true, the bar is one of those areas that you can kind of have some of those great conversations, but you don't have to be drinking. You can have a carbonated water. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we will be at the City Museum. The whole FearWorm team will be there. We're the main sponsor of the City Museum event. So see us Thursday night at the City Museum. We're kind of working on maybe a surprise during City Museum. We don't know yet, but more on that hopefully later.
And there's you make sure you want since we're plugging everything, the Emit One booth. I don't know what the number is, but the ticketing.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember that either. But we will have some Emit One ticketing news coming out soon. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it that we need to talk about, guys. Thanks for joining me today, and yeah, everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the FearWorm Wormhole. Have a great weekend. Bye.
If you have an interest in being a guest on the Wormhole or an idea for a topic of discussion, please email admin@fearworm.com.